Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about Papoose and Clarissa Shields. Yes, I'm going to give my opinion like everyone else about this relationship, and I'm going to try to keep it respectful. As of today, Clarissa Shields is 30 years old and Papoose is a 47-year-old man. Interesting fact about me is I have the same age difference with my mother as they have in their relationship. Now, I will say she's over 18. She's a grown woman, so she can date a man of any age as long as she's over 18. It's perfectly fine. They do have a 17-year-old age difference, which right there, it makes the relationship off balance. Now, me being a woman past 40, I will say I remember being 29 and 30, and anyone who is around that age or a little bit older than that age, you can remember the feelings you had around that time. Around that time, you start to feel like your biological clock is ticking, which it kind of is because women really should have they should have their kids before 35, because after 35 the quality of your eggs start to decline. That's just a scientific fact. And you start to feel like, while time is running out, I should get married, because 30 is a milestone age. And for those who are around the age of 30 or after 30, you can probably relate to this. You start to feel like your life is coming to an end. You're getting old, which you're not. 40s is basically the new 30s. It feels great to be in your 40s, by the way. So don't rush into unnecessary situations. But unfortunately, when you hit that milestone of 30, which is a huge milestone for a young woman or any person's, you start to feel like you have to rush. And what's going on is that's what's happening with her. She feels like, oh my gosh, I have to get married. I have to have a baby before it's too late. And sometimes those thoughts can be so loud in your head that they cloud your judgment in choosing a partner. I've known many women in my life that have, in my opinion, chosen the wrong partner around that time because of this feeling of, time is running out. I myself even made some mistakes in my early 30s, and I am divorced because of those mistakes, and realized that my judgment was cloudy. Now, Clarissa may hear this and say, well, that's you. That's not me. I understand what you're saying, sis. Sometimes we have to listen to older women because they've been down the road already. That's why I said I want to come at this respectfully. I don't want to clown her. I don't want to make fun of her. And I don't want to be negative. But this situation doesn't have a strong foundation to start with. And a relationship is just like building a house. If the foundation is not strong and cemented, then eventually it will crumble and fall. Only time will tell. A lot of red flags in this situation. First of all, the age difference to me is a red flag. But like I said, she's a grown woman dating someone 17 years older, has been proven to be successful with others. So that's not really the biggest factor. To me, the biggest factor is obvious. He's still a legally married man. Some may say, yeah, he's legal, but he's separated, or Remy cheated first, or his wife has a boyfriend, and yada, yada, yada. You're absolutely right. First of all, let's go back. Remy was first to publicly come out with a new partner. We do not know what happens behind the scenes. So I feel confident in saying she was not the first to step out of the relationship and have an extramarital affair. She has stated from her own mouth, and I believe her, he has cheated on her. So maybe she just got fed up, and because she is the first publicly to come out with a partner, it looks like she's in the wrong. Now, I will say she is not innocent in this situation. I may be a little biased because I am a Remy fan, but I also believe she should not publicly be flaunting someone out, and she's still legally married. It is a sin, but she can do whatever she wants, just like Pap can do whatever he wants. I will say her relationship is not as public as Pap's relationship. She tries to hide her relationship somewhat. She gives us little hints. Honestly, these two people just need to go and get legally divorced before they put anything out. It's just not a good look, and especially for their children. And the reason I say one of the first mistakes Clarissa Shields, as a young, successful woman dating someone like Papoose who is still legally married, is because I'm going to use my personal situation, my personal experience. I was separated from my husband for 3 years before we got officially divorced. And the emotional roller coaster that separated people go through, the paperwork, the detachment from each other, is a long process. And I personally don't feel like anyone should insert themselves during that time. If you want good for yourself, inserting yourself in that situation is messy. These people have the potential to get back with each other. Feelings are still there. You might potentially be what's the word? You may potentially be a rebound without knowing it. And like I said, her judgment is so clouded that she may not be seeing right, and she may call it hate, but it's not hate if all women or a lot of women are coming at her and warning her about this situation. If you notice, when the Shade Room posts things, the Shade Room comments has a lot more negative, I would say, than positive for Clarissa. And people would say, oh, the Shade Room is just messy and just, you can't really go by the Shade Room. But if you notice, when other people are posted, they don't get that backlash. Ciara never gets that backlash when she's posted. She may get a few negative comments, but overall, she doesn't get that backlash. And the reason Clarissa is getting an overwhelming backlash is because women, we're not older women, we're not bitter, we're not hateful. We've just been there before, and we're trying to warn you. I wish somebody would have told me when I was 30 that I was making mistakes in my, and matter of fact, let me back up. People probably did tell me, but like I said, you think you know everything. You don't want to hear everything. You're so clouded by love that you don't listen. If Clarissa was my sister, I don't advise my sisters in dating a man with such a great age difference. One of my younger sisters came to me when she was 19 and wanted to date a guy who was 29. And I said, you can do what you want, but I wouldn't advise it. And the reason is because someone who has that big of an age difference, they have so much more life experience and they can run circles around you mentally. Now, for Papoose, I've been a fan of him off the strength of Remy. I'm not going to take anything away from him professionally. I think he's very talented. It's unfortunate he hasn't reached the peak of his career or his success that I feel like he should have. Maybe it's a personality thing. Maybe it's an opportunity thing. I don't know why that hasn't happened for him, because he seems like a great guy. He has the connections. I just think he hasn't gotten the right hits, right? So, the second best thing is to get with successful women. I do not feel like Papoose is in love with Clarissa, the person. When you are dating a celebrity, you're not only dating them, you're dating their aura, you're dating their surrounding, you're dating their status, you're dating their money. So I will say, I do not believe Papoose is in love with the Clarissa Shields herself. I feel like he is in love with the persona. And who wouldn't want a successful woman? But her alone, I do not feel like he's in love with her. I honestly feel like he still has feelings for Remy. And you might, oh, you're just some girl on the internet. You're just some woman on the internet. What do you know? If you watch the things that he does, it shows that he's still in love with his ex. The reason he doesn't want to show public affection to Clarissa is because he doesn't want Rem to see, or whoever else he may be talking to. The reason he's trying to get attention from, he's not trying to get attention from the public. He's not doing all these things. Well, partially he is, in my opinion. Partially he's doing all these things to, become more successful because he needs to prove himself as a man and proves himself to us without Remy. But he's also trying to get Remy's attention. If he really didn't care about Remy, he wouldn't care what she thinks. There's no way you can be with a person that long and not have some type of feelings for him, for her, for that person. He, in my opinion, he moved on way too quickly. Now, if you see this picture I have up of him and Clarissa, this is him meeting Clarissa. Now, I need you to look at this picture. If you look at Clarissa's hand, she's wearing an engagement ring. Clarissa was engaged to her ex when her and Papoose first met. She also moved on from her past relationships too fast. So these are two people who were in serious relationships who got together in a short period of time. They didn't have time to heal from their past relationships. And they obviously were looking for love that they didn't have, and they jumped in with each other. Now, I don't want to get too deep into signs because some of you may feel like it's BS, or some of you might not be into that. I am into that to a certain extent. These two are Pisces. Now, I honestly don't believe in two signs dating. Sometimes it works out, but I feel like majority of the time it does not. Pisces loves hard. Pisces people will give you the shirt off their back. They are also love bombers. They fall in love very quickly. But one thing about Pisces, and sorry if you're a Pisces and you disagree, but they are also super emotional. Okay, and they react with their emotions. So these two together, it can be an explosion, because if both of them are emotional people, if one little thing or one disagreement goes on in their relationship, it can really blow out of proportion because both of them handle situations with emotion. Now, one thing I will say I also don't like about this relationship is that it's becoming Clarissa's identity. It's becoming the way we know her. I understand she's a well accomplished female boxer, but let's be real, a lot of Black women in general do not watch boxing. Okay, so I say that to say it's a very niche audience, and a lot of us have never heard of her before this Papoose situation. So she got introduced to us as dating a married man of Remy Ma. Remy Ma and Papoose has been famous for over 20 years. The general audience, especially in the hip hop community, have known them for over 20 years. A lot of us have never known Clarissa. We just met her, even though she's won an Olympic award, she's the GOAT or whatever. I personally have never heard of her, and I know I represent a lot of women that have never heard of her. I say that to say she's a beautiful Black woman who should have been introduced to us differently. She came out with a film. I'll be honest, I've never seen it, and I have no interest in seeing it, and I feel bad about saying that, but she just rubbed me the wrong way, so I just have no interest. I feel like I don't know who her publicist is, but if she was introduced to her community of Black women and everyone else in a more positive light, she would have got a better reception. She is someone who should be celebrated. She should be the next Layla Ali. But for some reason, well, not for some reason, we all know the reasons, she's not held in that regard. And I know she wants to be held in that regard. Even though she's a fighter, she probably cries when she gets home because of how she's received. And she needs to understand why. You're fighting with everyone. From what I know, she's fighting with Layla Ali. She's have spats with Remy Ma. She's have spats with Jay Paul. She's had spats with what's the fighter name? Chrissy. I forgot her last name. It's all these different people. Cameron, like so much random people.
Alone. She tagged me again. So I know this turns into Cam don't like Black women. Cam is hating on me. I'm trying to rewrite history. I didn't know the history. So then I left it alone. I said what I said on the show. Then she tagging me in videos. That's all it's about. And then I put up, look, you got 15 fights and 3 knockouts. So she put up, you want to be the 4th knockout?
So when you're fighting with all these random people, the common denominator is you, right? And she comes off unlikable. And that's not the way you want to introduce yourself. I consider myself a part of the general public. I also consider myself her target audience, Black woman. And to tell you the truth, I've never seen a headline with Clarissa about Clarissa. Every headline, Papoose is standing next to her. It's like they're a package deal. And you can have a man. I have a man. You can have a man, but he doesn't have to be in every frame of your life. She, as a 30-year-old young woman, needs to establish her own identity outside of him. Even if you want to be with him or whatever, okay. But keep him in the background. Why is he, like Suge Knight said, in all the videos and why is he in everything? Right? Can we have a headline with her without him or even Remy? When blogs post her, there are literally memes of Remy and Papoose she doesn't have her own identity outside of him. And I'm actually sad for her, and I blame that on her publicist. And maybe they told her. Look, girl, I know you're in a new relationship, girl. I know you're in love and all these things, but keep him to the background because now we can't hear her name without being attached to him. And he's riding her coattails because think about it. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be hearing Papoose's name. Let's be real. We wouldn't be seeing him as much if it wasn't for her. If it wasn't for Remy, take Remy and Clarissa out. I'm not saying we wouldn't see Papoose at all. We would, but let's call a spade a spade. Would we see Papoose on our timeline, in the news, on YouTube, anywhere? In headlines, would we see him as much as we would if it wasn't for one, Remy's name, and two, currently Clarissa's name? No. No. And anyone who says otherwise is lying. Yes, you will see him sprinkled around. I respect who he is. He was recently performing with Busta Rhymes, but I feel maybe it's my algorithm. Every time Clarissa is mentioned, he's mentioned as well. So he's like riding the wave and focusing on her. I don't think that's a good image for her brand. I honestly feel like she won't get the recognition she wants until she detaches herself from him. And maybe that's what she wants. Maybe she wants to be attached to her man and doesn't want the whole independent, success. So I feel like I made this video long enough. Thank you for listening. Please, please, please give me your feedback. Please support me just by liking the video or leaving me a comment, even if it's just a little hard or whatever it is. And subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Bye.